All right. Let's start seated today. Oh, I should tip the screen down a smidge. So if you have a block, you can sit on it. If you don't have a block, but you have pillows or towels, sit on something that allows your pelvis to gently tip down. And if you're finding that having your knees out to the side is bothersome in your hips, you might put a towel underneath each knee. Really make it a comfortable seat because we're going to be sitting for a moment. And once you find that extra bit of cushion and padding, whatever you need to get tall through the spine, close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep and full breath in. And a deep and full breath out. We'll take a few breaths here, allowing the mind and body to land. There's in the experience of going to the yoga studio and getting onto your mat, there's all of this mental preparation that can happen. But here, when we're practicing in our living rooms or our bedrooms, the mind might need a little longer to transition to make the leap into practice. So you take a breath in and you take a breath out. And as you consciously slow your breath down, you're slowly leading your mind to your experience of practice. You might be able to feel some changes within the first few breaths, just breathing steady in. Breathing steady out. Another way of saying that is allowing the inhale and the exhale to take up the same period of time and have the same level of intensity throughout. You can stay perfectly still and let your breath bring you into the practice, or as we start to add movement, you can allow the movement to be the thing that brings you in. So on an inhale, bring your shoulders up towards your ears. You can press your hands into your thighs if that helps, or you don't have to. And with your exhale, roll them back and down. We'll take a few cycles of breath like that. So inhaling the shoulders just really gently up towards the ears. Exhale, rolling back and down. Inhaling up. Exhaling back and down. And we'll keep going with that breath pattern a few more times. You can exaggerate it. Inhaling the shoulders up. And as you exhale, consciously rolling back, hugging the elbows in as you draw the shoulder blades down. Inhaling up. Exhaling back and down. Twice more on your own, so you breathe. And find this subtle movement or motion. next time you exhale your shoulder blades down and back, let your elbows hug in against your side body ever so slightly. And it's not that they need to touch, it's just that the action of drawing in integrates some muscles in the shoulders and around the shoulders. So maybe you feel this in your neck, maybe you feel it down your back, down the upper back, but it's just a little snugging. And we'll keep this sense of snugging the shoulders in. Draw the chin ever so slightly back, almost as if you could make your head a little bit taller. Take a breath in. And with your exhale, keep that sense of hugging the elbows in. Gently lean your head to the right. So a gentle side bend. I'll try to mirror you guys today if I can remember to do so. And so your head goes to the right ever so slightly. And it might be not a very large motion, just that place where you start to notice something along the side of your neck. Take a breath as you're here, and a breath out. If this feels good and comfortable, stay, or you can add some gentle movement. So on an inhale, you might lift your elbows up ever so slightly. And with your exhale, you might draw the elbows back in towards the side body. So again, changing the integration through the shoulder. Gently inhaling up. And exhaling back down. Sort of like you're conducting an orchestra. So you can keep the bend of the elbows and let the palms come facing down, but elbows lift, hands lift. Then exhale back down. We'll take one more. So you inhale up. Exhale the elbows in towards the side body. You can stay here or extend your left hand out to the side. It can be low, it can be high. This is just to create a little bit more length along the left side of your neck. And you might play with lifting and lowering in that range to find the spot that feels the most interesting or compelling for your body right now. And take a breath in. And a breath out. We'll take one more inhale. When you feel complete, exhale your left hand to your lap. Bring your right hand to the right side of your face and really gently bring your head back up to center. You can pause in perfect stillness or come back to those gentle central line shoulder shrugs, whatever helps you feel or notice the difference from right to left. Feel for a steady breath in and a full breath out. All right. We'll take one shoulder shrug together. So on an inhale, let your shoulders come up. And with your exhale, roll them back, hug the elbows in and draw the shoulders down. Keeping the elbows snugging in, draw some length into your spine. So I think about it as bringing the chin in a little tighter to make the back line of the head and neck a little longer. So the chin comes slightly towards your chest, yep. Now you can stay right here or gently move your head to the second side. So this would be left ear towards left shoulder. Take a breath in and a breath out. In and out. Now you can stay here with the head gently tilted to the left or start to add that conductor style motion of lifting the elbows up to the degree that they can go or that they're comfortable, and then hugging the elbows back in and down towards the side body. Inhaling up. Exhaling, drawing in. We'll take a few more of those, and if there's a spot that feels like you want to stay or linger, please know that you're always welcome to do that. Allowing the practice to be an exploration of yourself, for yourself, by yourself. Is the idea. The next time your elbows come down, or when you feel complete with that action, you can stay with your hands towards your thighs or extend the right arm out to the side. Oftentimes it's when the arm changes that I notice my chin has tried to make a change too. So if you notice that your chin pulled forward, you might try to draw it back again. And if you played with that range of motion and lifting and lowering the arm, you can do so again. Mindful that there might be a place that just feels like the right spot to be in today. Maybe it's low, maybe it's high. It doesn't mean anything specific about strength or flexibility aside from the fact that it's just your body saying, hey, that feels like a good spot. So you take a breath in. And you take a breath out. One more inhale. And with your exhale, release the right hand back to your thigh or lap. Use your left hand to guide your head back up to center. We'll take a breath in. Exhale through your mouth just to let some heat out. We'll take 2 breaths like that where you can imagine opening your mouth, sticking out your tongue, and fogging up a mirror in front of you. So you breathe in fully. And with your exhale, one more time. We've been sitting in this orientation for a while, so if your legs have been crossed this whole time, change the foot that's on top or in front. We'll do some seated side bending and we'll add some things from here, but just so the legs get a little variety. So once you've got your legs shifted, inhale your arms up and overhead. From the top, with your arms high, try to shrug the shoulders back down. And if the arms can't reach up, just lift them to the place where they can go and it still feels okay. So there are 2 of you with shoulder things going on. So work in a way that feels appropriate and supportive for your body. So maybe your arms only come halfway up, you keep a bend in your elbows and you can engage the muscles around your shoulder for extra support. If your arms come high, great, that's fine. Either way, breathe in. And breathe out. We're going to start to sway here, so you can let your arms go overhead to one side and then come back to center through an inhale and over to the second side. Try to notice as you move if you can keep the weight evenly balanced across your bum. So oftentimes when we lean in one direction, the weight comes more specifically into that side. So you'll pass back through center, reconnect to grounding through your pelvis and shift over again. And again, you can do this with the arms out. Sometimes the tightrope walker arms works better even because it helps you feel the distribution of weight. So if your arms get tired even, you can take them out into a T. We'll do one more time to each side. Well, this time, take a breath in at center. And with an exhale, you might need to bring your hands down first. You'll extend your left leg out to the side. If there's tenderness in your left hamstring, you can slide something underneath your left knee to keep a soft bend there. We're setting up a side bend, and there's lots of different ways to take this side bend. But principally, you want to start with an upright spine. And we can make this pose very active, but we can also make it very passive. So if you have a pillow or a bolster handy, you can sort of tuck it right into your side body. If you don't have a pillow, or if you have a pillow and it will fold, that's awesome. You can sort of fold it and get extra height. Because I'm working with a bolster, I can pull it in pretty tightly and it will stay, but I might not get as much height as I might need. So if you have a bolster and you want extra pillows too, you can add that. We're just gonna let the upper body tilt in the same way over the extended legs. So your body will move to the left. Your left hand can find your left ear, your head, in any way that's helpful. Sometimes it works really nicely to set a block just past the bolster and rest the elbow on it. If you happen to have another towel, I'm using all 3 towels, which is kind of amazing. But if you happen to have another towel, you can also roll it into the crook of your neck for added support. So we've just done some neck stretches. Your neck might feel extra pliable right now. So a little extra support can feel nice. And as you're here, notice how you expand in your side body, in your side ribs, in the space between your ribs and your pelvis. And we'll breathe in. And we'll breathe out. When breath comes in, and breath goes out. Now you're welcome to play with where your right arm is in relation to the shape. So the right hand could rest on the right knee. The right hand could come over to the left. And if you're letting the arm move in this sort of forward and across plane, regardless of what's going on in the shoulder, I think that should be okay for everybody's shoulder, but it will change what's happening in the side body. Just by virtue of moving the arm, you get a little bit more length. So you can experiment with that movement or find a spot that feels really nice, and we'll take about 8 more breaths. Allowing the breath to come in and allowing the breath to go out. If this pose is feeling very peaceful and you want to stay a little longer, please do. As you feel ready to be done, bring your right hand back in front of you. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, you can tip your weight more into your right hand. Use your left hand to support your head. And when you're more upright, you'll start to shift the props. We're going to play a little bit with the extended legs. So for you guys, that's the left leg. Turn the left toes up towards the ceiling. Try to fan all 5 of them out as much as you can. And you might notice as you do this activation that you feel stuff in your hip flexor, your outer hip, your bum, your hamstring even. It's really subtle work. We're going to do it again standing when there's weight there, but right now I want you to just feel what happens even when there's no weight on your foot. So try to spread out all of your toes on your extended leg, pressing down through your heel. Take a breath in. And then release the spreading out of your toes and notice what changes through the rest of your leg. We'll do that twice more because this sort of spreading and activating helps with standing in a more integrated way. So inhale here. With your exhale, press gently through the right heel so your right leg, the back line, starts to turn on. Spread out your toes, and as you do that, you might start to feel your shin working, or even up into your hip crease, your hip flexors. It's such a small motion, but it ripples all the way up the leg. Take another breath in. And when you exhale, release all that doing. One more time. You can brace with your hands on the floor if that's helpful. Press down through your right heel. Sit up tall. Breathe in. And flex your toes back so they're in line with your heel, and then fan them out. Take a breath in. And a breath out. And you can do this with the support of your hands on your thigh, or you can do this with your hands on the floor, but as lightly as you can, hug your extended legs heel in. And again, if you need the support, use your hand on your thigh. We're going to bring the feet back to cross-legged for a moment. And then just notice the difference from right to left. Take a breath in. And a breath out. As you're ready, you'll extend the the right leg out this time. Now, mindful to pad the knee if it needs it. And by the knee, I mean either knee, really. So if your left knee or your right knee need extra support, get some support underneath. And then find your bolster. We'll find the passive, soft version. If you were using a towel or a rolled up pillow or something in your neck crease, you can grab that as well. And we'll just tilt the body over the extended leg. Finding that little sense of ease here. And let the breath come in. And the breath go out. If you can, bring your awareness back into your side body, your side waist, the space between your right side of your pelvis and the right side of your rib cage. After doing that work in your feet, you might notice that there's some more activation trying to hold on in the hips. And take a deep breath in. And to the degree that it feels supported by your props, release any of that tension in the pelvis. And if you need more support, or you're realizing you need more support, grab extra towels or pillows. Now your left arm can be towards your left thigh, towards your bolster or pillow, or even more across the body. Take the variation that feels most appropriate for you, but perhaps also most interesting. And as the sensation changes, grows, or adjusts over time, use your breath and your practice to just notice how things change. That isn't to say you need to hold yourself in a place that's painful, just that perhaps you can notice the subtle changes in the body, the places where sensation shifts or trends towards discomfort or irritation, or, oh, that feels so good. Because it's often a very short gradient. We'll take about 8 more breaths here. And take a breath in and a breath out. So if your mind wanders, use your breath to bring it back to the subtle awareness of changes, even from the inhale or the exhale. When you feel ready to move or be done with this shape, you'll bring your left hand in front of your body. Take a breath in. Let your upper body tilt a bit forward so your weight can come a bit into your left hand for support. Allow your neck to feel comfortable. You can use your hand to tilt yourself up or the head back over the shoulders. And as you're coming up, move the towels or pillows or bolsters off of your side body for just a moment. And we'll turn our attention to the extended leg. So here, even with the towel underneath, if you press your heel into the floor and draw your toes back, that usually turns up the back line of the leg. Take a breath in. And with your exhale, fan out the toes as much as you can. Sometimes it feels really challenging. Sometimes it actually feels easier with the resistance of the floor. You can press one toe in and sort of spread them out from there. But do the best that you can in this context. Breathe in. And with your exhale, release all that doing. And notice where your body wants to be when it's at rest. Usually it's at a point in between, flexed and pointed, and there's some differing sensations going on through the hips. So we'll come back to that. Press through the heel. Bring the toes so they point up towards the ceiling. Breathe in. And as you exhale, fan out your toes. And I often find that when I'm talking about fanning out my toes, I start doing spirit fingers or something silly with my hands. And you might notice that you're doing that too, right? Like you're gripping or you're spreading out your hands really intensely. That's okay. The body learns by doing things in multiple places. Take a breath in. And with your exhale, slowly release. There's a whole modality of movement around training one side to help train the other. So the side that is easier to do that side first, and then your second side gets a little bit easier from that learning. So we'll do this one more time. Take a breath in, press through the heel. As you exhale, keep the press through the heel, but draw the toes back, fan them out. And maybe it's different in the hip this time, maybe it's in a different part of your leg, but take another inhale. And this time as you exhale, try to hug the heel of your extended leg in. Even if it makes funny noises on your mat, you can use your hands, but you don't have to bring your feet together. We'll come into butterfly for just a moment. So the feet come together and the knees go out to the side. If you'd like to have something underneath your knees, grab it, so blocks or towels or whatever works. We're going to take a cat-cow arch here. So holding onto your shins or knees, whatever's the easiest thing to grab a hold of. Inhale, your chest reaches forward and your arms extend. And with your exhale, let yourself round backwards. Inhale up, shoulders back, heart lifting. Exhale, rounding. So if you're prone to overdoing it in your low back, I have a bolster behind me just to keep myself from going too far in the low back. You can create that sort of boundary if you need it. We'll take a few more. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, rounding. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. We'll inhale up, upright. And from here, give yourself a gentle forward fold. We're not sustaining the shape in a passive way. We're just coming through for a moment. So hinge at your hip creases and notice how far you can go with a relatively long spine. If you feel yourself pulling backwards into that round, come out a little bit and just get long again. So maybe you don't go very far, but you can feel that the hinge from the hips is happening. Take a breath in. And a breath out. Sit yourself up as you breathe in. If there's anything under your knees, take it out. Bring your knees towards the ceiling. And you can stay here or start to find a gentle rock from side to side with the knees. So this can feel nice in the outer hip. It can also feel nice in the low back. Again, if it's too much or doesn't feel right, you're welcome to skip it. You might find you want the bolster behind you to gently lean into. That's cool. So the knees can drop. Nobody mentioned wrist stuff, but you're always welcome to be on fists if your wrists are not happy about it. The next time your knees go to one side, bring yourself over into table, hands and knees. So you can use the knees dropping to transition. Now, if you need extra support for your knees, unroll a towel at the height of your knees. I'll slide my bolster to the side. And in your table, we're gonna set up side plank from here. Now, knowing that there's some tenderness in shoulders, you can do this in one of two ways. You can use flat palms or fists, or you can also set your forearm up on a block if that feels more comfortable and stable. But you'll extend your left leg behind you so the left foot comes in line with the right knee. And your right hand will stay strong underneath your shoulder, left arm will lift up. If it can't lift up, you can rest it on your side body. What I'm hoping to do here actually isn't as much in the shoulders as it is in the outer hip. So a little bit of strength here. You can play with staying low. Take a breath in. Or you can float the back leg up, which is the left leg. So we're looking for strength in the outer hip. So maybe you just hover off the ground. Maybe your leg can lift. Explore what feels possible and doable here. And take a breath in. and a breath out. So something else that might work better, especially if there is some tenderness in the shoulders, is to put your forearm on a bolster, on a pillow, on a block. Just make sure whatever you're resting on is stable. Sometimes folks use piles of books or something and the books shift, and that's not super safe. Okay. When you feel done, bring your left knee down beside your right knee. We'll bring the knees towards one another and take a knees together variation of threaded needle. So let your left arm come out like a wing. Guide your left arm underneath so that your left shoulder taps down. And you can stay right here or look under your right armpit or reach the right arm behind you, either up into the air or just let it rest on the small of your back. If this is not going to work in your shoulder, sometimes it's easier to bring the floor up to you. You can slide a bolster underneath your shoulder. Awesome. Take a breath in and a breath out. When it's time to come up, release the right hand to the floor for support. Press down to lift up into table, hands and knees. You can take a few shoulder shrugs in table, rolling out the shoulders if that feels okay. I'm going to turn around so that when we switch sides, I can look at you guys. But here we are. It might also feel nice to take a figure 8 through the hips before we transition. As you feel ready, you'll let your left knee, make sure that it's comfortable. Extend the right leg long behind you. And from here, your left hand or fist will stay rooted. And again, you can put something under the forearm if that works better. The right arm will either come up or rest on your side. Take a breath in and a breath out. Yeah, so have compassion. These are harder things. If it feels okay, you can play with floating the foot up. We're looking to notice the activation or intensity in the outer hip. So if it feels better to have both hands on the floor, but to try to stack the hips and lift a leg, that works too. We're looking for the integrity and integration of this outer hip. So explore it in a way that works for you. Take a breath in and a breath out. Cool. If it works to lift the leg, you can play with moving in circles or coming a little forward towards the front line and a little back towards the back line. All of these things are just options. Take a breath. Close your eyes, tune me out for a minute and tune into what makes sense in your body. Tune into how your body makes sense right now. And when you feel complete here, you'll tap your right knee beside your left knee. You can hug into your thighs or even place a block between them. As you're ready, you'll extend the right arm out and thread the right arm underneath the left. Now, if you need something underneath your shoulder, you can put a bolster underneath the shoulder. If you need something to take more of the weight off of your arm and shoulder, put the bolster underneath your chest so that it catches more of the weight. And if your head's floating, you might stick a block under it too. So especially if there's discomfort in the shoulder, give yourself extra cushion. Yeah, cool. So make it accessible for the body now, even allowing that sort of searching for accessibility to be an inquiry, a curiosity. Treating each side independently allows you to deal compassion to your physical body. All right. As you're ready to come out, you'll press into the left hand to bring yourself back up into table. You can walk your hands a few inches forward, your feet a few inches back. You can either come through downward dog or walk your hands back towards your knees. Curl your toes under so that your feet come onto the ground. Then fold into a gentle forward fold at the back of your mat. So lots of ways to get there. Take a breath in and a breath out. In your forward fold, soften in your knees. Let your hips shift back so that they're coming in line with your heels or even slightly behind the line of your heels, giving the hamstrings some love. We'll take a breath in. And on an exhale, bend a little more through the knees. Roll your way up to stand. I'm going to move this towel. If there's anything in the middle of your mat, feel free to move it now. But as you come up to stand, split your feet out to hips width distance. We're going to do some feet love. So, yeah, feet at hips width distance. Spread out the weight across your feet. So you might notice that you naturally lean to one side, or that you lean to the outside edges or the inside edges of your feet. Try to find a comfortable balance. If anything, the weight coming slightly back towards the heels. And if you notice that your distribution of weight in your feet is having an uncomfortable consequence up the chain or up your leg, if you're locking your knees or it's cramming in your back, soften in your knees. And find a way to redistribute the weight to take the pressure off your joints. Okay. Breathe in and out. We'll pick up all 10 toes from the ground. So the ball of your foot, of each foot, will press down. The heel will still be on the ground, but all 10 toes will fan up. I'll try to air guitar with my hands too so that you can kind of see, because I know it's hard to see my feet. Now from here, spread your toes out as wide as you possibly can. Take a breath in. And with your exhale, try to bring just your big toes down. Yep. If you're doing funny things in your hands, that's cool. Just notice it. Press into your big toe. Use the press to fan the other toes out. Try to bring just the baby toes down, in addition to the big toes. So you'll have big toe or thumb toe and pinky toe. I know. If you've just locked out your knees, rebend them. What's interesting about this is it's activating the inside and outside of the leg. So you might notice that your weight is changing where it's sitting in your legs. Take a breath in. Try to keep this activation through the feet, but bring the other toes down. Deep breath in. Full breath out. And with the exhale, we often release the pressure or the activating. Notice if you've tipped or shifted when you release. I often tend to tip forward. So bring the weight back towards the heels. ever so slightly soften through the knees. Take a breath in. And pick up all 10 toes. Okay. This time, fan out all 10. Try to bring the pinky toes down on each side first. For some folks, this is easier, and for some, this is radically harder. So just breathe and let that be okay. Take a breath. Now bring your big toes down as well. One more inhale. With your exhale, keep activation through the foot. Bring the toes down. Breathe in. And breathe out. Okay, one more breath in. One more breath out. All right. One more moment of standing here. Soften through both knees. Let your weight shift to your right foot. Just let your left leg lift to the left. So this is a similar action that I was looking for in side plank, but without any weight in the shoulders or upper body. So this might feel better for some of you. You can just let the leg go out to the side and bring it back. If balance is really challenging, put your right hand on the wall, and let your leg reach away until you start to feel some activation. And as slowly as you can muster, bring it back. One of the challenges of doing this standing is that we tend to counterbalance with the upper body tilting, which can take some of the pressure out of the hip or the activation in the hip. So try, if you can, to keep your upper body straight and just reach the left leg out. One more time, inhaling. As you exhale, let your weight come into your left leg. Bend, shift, second side, and if you need the wall or a chair, get it. You'll just start floating the right leg up. Looking for the integration that allows you to stabilize in the standing leg, but also support in the outer hip. Hold. Take a breath in. Slowly lower the leg as you can. We'll take 2 or 3 more. Lifting and lowering. Lifting and lowering. When you feel balanced or complete from right to left, separate your feet to hips with distance. Take your arms out by your side, and we'll find mountain pose. Mountain pose is basically the standing version of Shavasana. Your shoulders are soft down your back. Your weight is comfortable in your feet. Let your breath come in. And your breath go out. In through the nose. And out back through the nose or mouth. One more time. Breath comes in. Breath goes out. Okay. We'll be bringing ourselves down onto the floor for Shavasana. Now, to set this up in a similar way or in integrity with this concept of mountain pose, bend your knees. You can use your hands for support to come down. But as you extend out your legs, you can keep your feet at about hips width distance or slightly wider. Maybe you set some blocks in front of your feet to keep your feet a little bit more flexed like you were standing. If you know that your knees will try to lock down into the floor, slide some rolled up towels or something underneath your thighs just to provide that extra bit of support for your knees. Then before you come onto your back, if you'd like a pillow or to make a pillow, out of a towel, you can grab something. Maybe it's a simple towel roll, whatever works, to give your neck some support as you come on back. Now from your back, when we're standing, the arms fall in a comfortable way. When we're reclining, you might need to adjust or bend at the elbows and place something underneath the hands for extra support. And if you're finding that your blocks aren't firm enough for your feet, you can rest your feet up against the wall and use the blocks for your hands. If you have a particularly firm bolster, you can use the bolster for the feet. Give yourself the time to be in process with the setup so that once you come down, you really feel like you've landed, or that your body has the capacity to land in the pose. Take a deep breath in. And a full breath out. Inhale through your nose. And as you exhale through your mouth, land your hands somewhere on your body. Just a connection to self. Maybe that's your belly, your ribs, your hips. Take a breath in. And a breath out. One more inhale here. With your exhale, guide the soles of your feet to the floor. Pressing into your feet to stabilize for your low back. And when you have the support of both legs, you can roll them to one side. Use your hands to bring yourself up to a comfortable seat. Sitting up tall through the spine. Take a deep breath in and a full breath out. Let your hands come to your chest, one on top of the other. Acknowledge yourself and your body and your mind and all of the pieces of you that got you to your practice, to your yoga. If there was anyone that supported you in making this possible today, whether it was a person helping get things over your head or just clearing space and time, give a gentle nod of gratitude in that direction as well. We'll take a bow to each other and ourselves. May all beings be peaceful. Well, thank you for sharing practice.